Hello and welcome to SEC Baseball Predictions. I'm your host, Chris Lee. We are here today to preview and predict the outcome on Tennessee's series at Arkansas. Both teams have still got a lot of to play for. Arkansas has certainly got a top 8 national seed on the table. Tennessee's got hosting on the table. Tennessee's also got playing in somebody else's ballpark as a 2 seed on the table. A lot of things could happen depending on this series goes. Guys, off the top, let's just start here. What do we think we're getting in both these teams? Because both have lost more series than they've won lately. At the same time, both, to me, talent-wise, look like top national seeds. With Tennessee, that's a team that was invincible in its ballpark. Now, not so much. Seems to play better on the road. Graham, I'll start with you. Just how do you size each of these teams up? Because they're both very talented, but we're also getting some mixed signals out of each.
Yeah. To me, I think it's more challenging for Arkansas. I know Arkansas, the past month maybe hasn't gone the way that they've anticipated, but the difference is they got 18 wins and they have a chance to win the regular season in the SEC. And they've only been blown out of, I think, one of these games down the stretch. I think Tennessee is a little bit of a different story. I just think Tennessee's not playing well. And I sent you guys that picture. Tennessee's given up an insane amount of stolen bases, the most in a long time in all of college baseball. And I just think Tennessee is just a combination of things. They give up a lot of stolen bases. The defense isn't all that great. And just whatever in the world is going on with this group and Tony Vitello. It just seems like he's frustrated, can't really figure out the pulse of this team. I just think Arkansas has been just a little bit more consistent. They've also played a more challenging schedule here lately than Tennessee has. But when I think of Arkansas baseball, I just think of consistency. So much so that this nugget right here, Arkansas, they've won 18 SEC games for 8 years in a row. Goodness. 8 years in a row, they've won 18. And nobody has done that since LSU did it from 1996 to 2005. So, when I think of Dave Van Horn in Arkansas, I just think consistency, well-coached team. They're going to be really good in a lot of different areas, but they're never going to be bad, in one area where it's just this is this team's weakness. I don't really get a feel for that for Arkansas. I just think they're pretty solid and consistent in so many different areas. And with Tennessee, I just think at this point in the season, we know where their weaknesses are.
The way I see this is a dangerous elixir of emotion and desperation.
Yeah.
And because you're right. I mean, I just looked at the top 50 draft prospects through high school and college baseball, and 6 of them are going to be in this game, in this series. And so to say this is a talent issue is a fool's errand, but it is certainly an emotional issue. And I think at times Florida may just play consistently flat. And Tennessee, on the other end, plays, they redline to the point where they blow an engine and give away a game they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But both of these teams, if the ultimate goal for each of these programs and where Dave Van Horn and Tony Vitello has established each is Omaha or it's a failure, there's a lot to play for in these final 3 games that is – I don't think it's fair that Arkansas is in a position to get a national seed, has to win 2 of 3 to this. I think Arkansas is a little underrated, especially in some of the national polls that don't have them a little higher, but that's in some ways their own fault. Tennessee's very much in the conversation of being a 2 seed, and that's completely their fault.
Mm-hmm.
And did we ever in a million years think that we were going to get to May 15th and have a conversation that there was not going to be a regional in Lindsey Nelson Stadium and there was not going to be a postseason future in College Station, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy last couple weeks. I mean, to me, who knows, to be determined. We'll see how it pans out. I guess what we know is both these teams have elite talent. I think the matchups are interesting. I think the Friday night matchup between Liam Doyle, who is just, for whatever consistency issues or whatever else that Tennessee's got, he's not been one of them. He has been dynamite pretty much every time out. Zach Root has been dynamite sometimes and maybe sometimes not as much. So there's that. I think from there, both teams have had some issues. Marcus Phillips has not held runners on, which begs the question about his place in the rotation. Actually, it looks like they've moved him to Friday night now that I look at the matchups to go against Root. So that's interesting. So we have Doyle against TBD for Arkansas. Landon Beidelshees has been their other starter most of the time, but they haven't committed. And then Gage Wood on Sunday, who's an electric talent, but the consistency has waned, against Tegan Coons. Same thing, young kid who has been going in shorter and shorter outings lately. So that's one piece of the puzzle. And then the bullpens. Tennessee's has not been great lately. Their end-of-game arms, who they rely on, have waned. Arkansas has had some health issues there. So I think that's interesting. The pitching matchups now, it's Root against Phillips, which I think you'd have to give the edge to Arkansas. Doyle against TBA. I think Doyle gets the edge against anybody, much less TBA. And then Coons on and Wood for maybe what could be the deciding game on Sunday. I think the pitching dynamic is interesting because it's not what I thought it would have been before I checked the rotations here.
I think it's two things. One, if you remember after the Vandy loss on Sunday, Tony Vitello, I mean, he just flat out said like he was going to shake things up, do things differently as far as the rotation goes. So that's one part of it. The other part is Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So they're going to go with Marcus Phillips on Thursday. So that means his week of rest is like way, way shorter than what it normally is because what he's going on 2 days fewer rest. So I still think, he'll be solid. But again, like the book is out on him at this point. Like his stuff is good. He looks like a linebacker out there on the mound, but he just gives up base runners. And the number, I have it right here. Tennessee's given up the most stolen bases of any SEC team in a decade.
I think, and it kind of alludes back to what I said earlier. I think moving these pieces, and yes, some of it is as Graham rightly noted, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of it. But if you're moving guys around in matchups, you're trying to leverage a little bit of that desperation to put yourself. I mean, if you're Arkansas and you're going to put Gage Wood back to game 3 on Saturday, yeah, you can do it under the umbrella of, well, that's the day he normally starts. But you're putting Root on a Thursday, which is not the day he normally starts. So is Tennessee trying to leverage a even greater advantage with Liam Doyle in game 2? And did Arkansas counter that? Because now if you're moving Wood on the Saturday for game 3 against Coons, who has been erratic, then you feel Arkansas has to wake up this morning. If those projected pitching matchups hold, they got to feel like they've got the edge in 2 of the 3.
Yeah, part of me wonders, is this just, okay, Liam Doyle pitches on Fridays, and so he's going to pitch on Fridays, or is this this is how we're going to order it going forward? Because let's be honest, okay, that Saturday night game in a regional, provided you win the first one, is where series usually tilts. And I think, Liam Doyle in that game 2 spot against anybody is, probably going to be favored. I don't care who you're playing. That number 1, Tennessee's got enough talent to beat anybody if it pieces it together. So I don't know if that's what that gamble's about. I think the other issue, we've talked all pitching so far, but the lineups. Both teams similar on paper. Tennessee's got more home runs, but I think disproportionately more of those have come out of conference. We talked about Arkansas. We talked about Tennessee's trouble controlling the running game. Running is not really what Arkansas does. But at the same time, running is what anybody who wants to do can do against Tennessee at times too. how does that pan out? I don't know. I think to me, the key for Arkansas is Andrew Fisher's the guy you don't want to face right now. You keep him in the ballpark. I think the key for Tennessee is probably limiting base runners because I think Arkansas's lineup 1-9 is super deep. So to me, Tennessee's more top heavy in the lineup right now with Keelan and Fisher and what you get at the bottom wanes a little bit. With Arkansas, I think consistency has been the hallmark of that lineup. Not that they don't have upper end hitters, but I think they're more challenged to pitch 1-9 right now.
And not to oversimplify it, Graham, but to even be a little more specific, especially against LSU and in some of the series that Arkansas has struggled, if you can keep Davalin off the bases, you've got a much stronger grip around Arkansas than you do because if that guy and I hadn't crunched the numbers, but when that guy's on base multiple times, it feels like not only does he bat 6 times a game, but they turn it over every inning, and every inning you're pitching in a leverage situation.
Yeah, he's the big key for Arkansas for sure. And when he's on base, like you said, multiple times throughout the course of a game, good things seem to happen. I'll say this: like some of these numbers did surprise me. And now I know a lot of this is, or not a lot, but some of it is before we eliminated the divisions. Obviously, Arkansas and Tennessee were not in the same division, but Arkansas, they are 10-2 against Tennessee in their last 12 games. That dates back to 2017. Arkansas has not dropped a series to Tennessee since 2005, and Arkansas has not lost at home to Tennessee in a series since 1996. So all the history favors Arkansas. And then the fact that it's in Fayetteville, I think that's a big-time factor for the Hogs.
I actually think if Tony Vitello and crew are being honest, with the exception of the comfort factor of getting to sleep in the 865, going on the road here gives them a better chance.
Yeah.
Because you can it's already a emotionally charged locker room, and that's not always a good thing. But it is an opportunity to offer the galvanization of us against the world in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Here's what I think will be a big key for this series. We know what Tennessee is. Like they like to stir the pot. It just seems like they
like to pee in the pot before they stir the pot, and then they want to pour it in your water bucket.
So, I mean, but Jay, it seems like on Sundays, like the past couple of weeks, they've turned it up even another notch. So that's not what Arkansas does. Like Auburn took Tennessee's lunch money because Auburn doesn't do any of that stuff either. Like they just let the play on the field speak for itself. And so like when a team doesn't like respond to anything that Tennessee does, like that kind of, it seems that gets underneath their nerves a little bit. And I mean, Dave Van Horn has been, and Dave Van Horn has been doing this forever, and he's never been a coach has been about like antics, anything like that. They just play baseball. They have an outstanding crowd. Their crowd won't do anything too crazy, anything like that. So I just think all that stuff favors Arkansas in this series.
Calling the Hogs is a little bit crazy, okay? I mean, I get it, it's tradition, but they're going to do something crazy. They're going to woo Pig Suey through the whole thing. And I love our Arkansas fans who subscribe and are regulars, and I'm high on the Hogs. I really am. To that end, though, and I don't know where Chris has got us as a point guard on what we're going to get into, but we've alluded to it on multiple shows that there's a whole lot of animosity above the playing field in this Tennessee program right now. If Tony Vitello stays and is the long-term direction of this, he needs to hire Brian McCann to be his first base coach, because that dude would come in there and instill some old school. And I'm all for these guys celebrating and enjoying. I'm not anti-bat flip. I'm not anti-emotion. These are 18 to 23, and in some cases 29-year-old kids. And I'm all for fun. And if you are upset that somebody flips his bat or takes a little extra long running the bases, don't hang a curveball and let him hit it 600 feet. So I get that. I get bringing emotion to the game. I think it's helped college baseball in general and SEC baseball in particular. But there's allowing some grace and joy, and then there's being a collection of punks. And Tennessee they skipped over a couple of lily pads and are way closer to the latter than they are to the former.
Yeah, I'm just going to start us off with predictions, and I'll give you my take. Like, both of these teams have the talent to win the national title. Like, if Tennessee flips a script, loses 2 games the rest of the season, wins the whole thing in Omaha again, would that shock me? No, it would surprise me a little bit. I think Arkansas would be less surprised. To me, Tennessee's in that place where, like, they running hot and playing with an edge is what makes them go in a lot of ways. But it's like eating. I like ice cream. A little bit of it is great, just enough. You eat a whole carton, and you're going to have some issues. And I think Tennessee's been eating the whole carton lately.
Brain freeze!
Right. That's the problem. I mean, they do have brain freeze. You've seen it on defenses. You've seen it on defense. You've seen it in, not holding runners. And then you've seen they try to get in this emotional game with their opponents to where when teams won't respond, other teams are the ones that maintain their cool and composure down the stretch, and Tennessee doesn't. Arkansas reflects the personality of its head coach. You're right about Dave Van Horn. Arkansas, those guys get excited to play baseball too, but they're more under control. You've also got that dynamic of the Dave Van Horn, Tony Vitello tension. They've had words before. If Tennessee can get its emotions under control and play that way, I think the ceiling gets higher. But, man, the last couple weekends, especially last weekend we saw it, that's not what they were. Do they learn from that? I don't know. Is it better for them to play on the road? I don't know. We're about to find out. But Arkansas plays really well at home. And right now the things we know and just the deficiencies that Arkansas doesn't have that Tennessee has right now. And by the way, here's another thing. Tennessee's had trouble keeping the ball in the ballpark lately. And I know some of that's Lindsey Nelson, but their pitching staff has always done a good job of that. Arkansas still got some pretty elite bullpen depth too. We didn't talk much about that. I trust that more. Just right now, every box that I look at to judge how this is going to go seems to favor Arkansas. Could it go the other way? Absolutely. My goodness, we have seen that in SEC baseball lately. But I'm going Arkansas based on what I know right now. I feel more confident in the Razorbacks to win the series. I think the Vols get the Doyle game. I think the other two go the Razorbacks' way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's at the point now where if Liam Doyle does suffer the loss, like, it is pretty surprising. But I just think Arkansas will just be too much in favor, especially a chance to clinch the regular season. I'm sure they'll monitor the Texas-Oklahoma series and see what happens there. But, yeah, there's definitely a chance for Arkansas to be the regular season champs. I'm just taking the Hogs in this one. And for Tennessee, if that was well said, what you said a moment ago, but if they are, everybody knows how talented Tennessee is. They're crazy talented. If they are able to figure it out emotionally and mentally and that aspect of it, they can be very dangerous. I just think moving ahead for Tennessee, the difference is, will they potentially make their run in Knoxville, or are they going to have to do it on the road as a 2 seed?
I think to where we started, this is a springboard for both of these crews in towards the ultimate goal. And if I could pull out a Lee Corso headgear right now, I 100% would. I think Tennessee gets it done. I think Liam Doyle he deserves to be the pitcher of the year, even more than Kyson Weatherspoon, even more than Sam Dutton. And everybody knows I've got like a Sam Dutton tattoo on my butt cheek. I mean, it is. And the other thing is these guys now are experienced. It wouldn't shock me if they just come out and play their best series of the season. Because at some point, you just get tired of the noise, and you revert back to what all these kids have done 140 times every year since they were 8. and that's just play. And I'm hoping to see the best Tennessee over the next month plus, because the best Tennessee is as good as anybody's best. It's like Dustin Johnson in the old at the apex of his powers before the live transitions. If you gave me everybody's A game, Dustin Johnson's was a bit better. If you give me everybody's A game, Tennessee's got as much talent, if not more, than everybody in the country.
Yeah, that's not wrong. I can't believe I didn't bring this up, guys. Liam Doyle left the Vanderbilt start with a blister. Sometimes you see those things linger. I don't know if that had anything to do with him getting another day of rest. That didn't occur to me till we were just wrapping this up. But that's another thing to watch. And no, it doesn't sound like much, but occasionally you will see those things linger.
Well, it could. Players. It also could be an angry female or a violent femme, and it could be a blister in the sun.
It could be. With these two teams, you never know. But, we're going to find out, and we're going to be here to talk about it when it's over. We will have recap shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. We'll have some postseason awards. We'll have all kinds of stuff. So if you like it, subscribe, hit the like button, and enable your notifications. We'll be doing some members-only stuff too, some extra content for you after the weekends. We haven't got our plan together, but we will, again, monitor the channel. And if you don't mind, where you get our podcasts on audio only, leave us a nice rating and some comments too. We're trying to boost those audiences too. For Jay Greason, for Graham Doty, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching our baseball content here at Southeastern 16. God bless you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.